Hello, welcome. We're going to be doing for the next few weeks, we're going to be doing a couple of part zero episodes to kind of get to know the different players a little bit more. And so this week, we're going to start off with Rye. So let's just get started with this. So when we last left off, you were outside of the city with the rest of your companions, and they were making their way back in. You were obviously trying to avoid going through the city gates themselves.
Yeah.
Because in doing so, you get caught by the guards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
She's a wanted tiefling.
yeah, you have that freshly printed wanted poster right in your pocket. So a little bit of a concern. So, waving them off, you let them walk into the city so that you can make your way around. Now, this is a difficult task. You're breaking into a walled city with a bunch of guards all around. But luckily, you happen to know the city better than most people. And more importantly, you know the Shao district better than most people. You literally grew up here your entire life. And you've made a lot of friends along the way. So making your way around the city, you follow along the outer walls and find your way to the outside of the district where the actual Shao district is. So you're on the outside of the city walls, and you come across a little merchant area that is outside the walls with an old friend of yours. Actually, it's another Shao gentleman by the name of Li Shu. Now, Li Shu, you happen to know him because he's the older cousin of an old late friend of yours that died in a tragic accident. But you happen to know Li Shu, and you know that he's running an herbalism shop there. So even before you get up close, he notices you, seeing you walking in a not very crowded area. He kind of flags you down and waves, "Hey, Rye!"
Rye kind of instinctively ducks, and then notices the Li Shu's cheesy grin, and his calloused hand wave, and I scuttle over to him. Yeah.
So as you make your way over to Li Shu, you see that he greets you with a bright smile. Again, you've known each other for, you can't even count the number of years.
He's happy-go-lucky.
Yes, yeah, he is a good friend of yours. So now, Li Shu, what you know of him is that he happens to be a peripheral worker for an organization called the Golden Swords that happens within the city. But you know, like, he is, like you said, he's a happy-go-lucky guy. He's friendly, but he's kind of not the brightest person. So he's more of one of their lackeys. But that's okay. He's a great guy. You get along with him very well. So as you come walking up, he's like, "Oh, hi, Rye. How are you doing? I haven't seen you in so long." And kind of quickly makes his way over to give you a nice big hug.
Cool. Yeah. She lets him hug her. She just kind of abates in silence until it's over.
Yeah. So you know that you're over here to make your way back into the city. You know about the secret way in over here, but he's just excited to see you. So he just starts off with polite conversation, like, "Hey, what are you doing? What brings you on the outside of the city?"
Do I see any guards or anyone in this area? It's just kind of like freeform.
I mean, on the city walls, there will be periodically a guard here or there or whatever that are kind of keeping lookout, but this is not a time of war. There's no concern. So it's very few and very far between. You're not concerned about being seen.
Yeah. So Roy relaxes a little bit, and she makes the small talk. She turns and she just says, "Just been doing some work outside the walls, keeping busy."
Oh, that's good. Keeping your hands clean?
Of course. And as she's saying it, she's kind of like wiping her hands on her cloak, just in case they weren't clean enough.
Well, luckily for Rye, she was not one of the ones that were moving dead bodies or actively killing people in melee, so her hands are relatively clean.
Relatively clean.
So after a little bit of small talk, he's like, "So, is there anything I can help you out with? Or are we just stopping by for a friendly chat?"
Just heading back in. The non-guard way.
Oh yeah, I get it. I did hear something about a couple of weeks ago. Did that happen?
Her face kind of twists, and she lifts up the wanted poster, and it rolls down out of her hand, and she points to the nose, and she says, can you believe this? They just can't get my nose right."
So he laughs heartily at that, and oh, obviously your nose is way nicer than that one. Oh man,
Thank
but
you.
what do you expect? These guards make what kind of money? I mean, they don't know what they're doing. He's like, yeah, of course, I'd love to help you out. So he brings you over back along the actual city wall itself, and he just kind of gestures underneath the wagon and says, when I say just hop underneath. Now,
Okay.
again, you're fully aware of the latch door that's underneath there leading to the tunnel. And so you're ready to go. And he kind of looks about for maybe a minute at most. And then he's like, all right, go ahead, go now. And very quickly you scuttle underneath the wagon, lift the latch door, and just roll underneath. Inside this latch door, you come into a relatively cramped tunnel. Almost instinctively, when you're inside this tunnel, you think, Ada would probably be comfortable here. And you make your not really crawling, but really crouched way through this tunnel. And it has a bit of a slope to it as you go, a bit of a downward slope. It's not very long, maybe 40, 50 feet at most. You can see the other end of it as soon as the latch door shuts, and you kind of blink once or twice and you can see the other end of it immediately. You make your way to the other side, and the other end of it is actually wooden planks, to which you turn the knob and open it out. And as always, you step out into the basement of a tavern, and you close the face of the large wine cask that you just stepped out of behind you, and dust yourself off of all the dirt from inside the tunnel, and are able to make your way back up.
Cool. All right. Yeah. I carefully roll up the wanted poster and put it back inside the cloak, and give myself a dust off, chin up, and up the stairs I go out the cellar.
Nice. So as soon as you walk out of the cellar, again, the peoples that work here are very familiar with you. This isn't the first time you've used this area. And it's all like, as you step out, nobody even blinks twice. Nobody even looks over at you. It's one of those business as usual sort of walking out of the back room. Hang around in the tavern for a little while, or do you just head straight out?
Yeah, I think I would just mosey on up and order a drink.
Sure.
And then I'm assuming I'm just going to meet the party at the other tavern. So I would have a drink just to be courteous.
So what you're saying is you finally shook Thonk off and you need a drink before you go see him again. Is that what you're getting at?
It's more just to entertain the establishment that is allowing me free passage.
Absolutely. So paying your respects.
Yeah.
That's nice. So yeah, you make your way over to the bar, and it's again very casual. The bartender is happy to see you and knows you by name. Not that everybody around here would know you by name. Some by reputation, some don't know you at all. But the bartender here does know you by name and welcomes you warmly. You order your drink. You have small talk and are able to make your way out of the establishment. Now, do you head straight to the other tavern? Do you have any other things that you want to do between here and there, shops you want to hit up with the like, or maybe just kind of mosey your way through your old streets?
She debates heading to her apartment. It's like this dingy place, like above a food cart, just in Showtown. But she decides against it. Maybe it's being watched. And decides that maybe she should probably get a room at the tavern she's meeting the guys at. So I think Rye would just prop her hood up and head into the busy Shao crowds to the tavern. Yeah, straight to the tavern.
Awesome. So as you start making your way there, let me just look at your... Awesome. So as you start making your way over to the tavern that you're supposed to meet with everybody with, which again, you happen to know is the Broken Spirits tavern. So as you're making your way over there through the streets and whatnot, your mind is kind of wandering to, what it is that just happened. God, the thing you just witnessed happen with And you, as you're making your way along, all of a sudden you catch something out of the corner of your eye that completely snaps you out of like the little daze that you were in. You see two guards standing outside of a shop. It's actually a shop that you frequent quite often. You know the owner pretty well. It's where you either sell like hawked goods or pick up just basic supplies. It's kind of like a general store sort of shop.
Yeah.
You see two people standing outside of it that really catch your eye. Though you've never seen these people before, you are very familiar with the uniforms that they're wearing, the armor, the weapons at the side, but most importantly, the insignia that's emblazoned upon their cloaks and their tunics that they have. And it's the insignia of the Kulinov family. the Kulinov family who you just recently had your run-in with.
Yeah.
So how do you react to that?
I think Rice sees this and instinctively reaches behind and like through the fabric of her pack, she grabs this tube in her bag, and the tube is containing a rolled up oil painting. And the painting is what she had stolen from the family and been seen in doing so. And that's kind of how the whole wanted scenario started, was that they put out a bounty and she was identified, and she doesn't want to let this painting go. But she's also like kind of, I'd say, Rye wants to know what they're asking. So I think I'm going to try and get closer and see if I can listen in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the two of them are just standing kind of outside of the shop itself, which leads you to believe that they're not the ones actively doing something, but somebody else within the shop is the one that is asking around or whatever. Like I said, these two don't seem familiar to you. So
Okay.
do you want to kind of just try to slip past them and make your way into the shop?
Is there some kind of adjacent wall of the shop with a window or anything like that?
Absolutely. So I mean, there's only so in the face of the shop there is a rather large paned window that has things you can kind of look into it with. Off to the side, you do know there's another window. Now you only stand at like 5'5" or something like that, I believe. So you do kind of have to get up on your tipsies. It's going to be a little conspicuous, but you do know there is another window that can see into the front of the shop off to one side, and you do know the back of the shop has two other windows there, but they're rather small, probably designed to keep people from sneaking in and out. So the three, depending on if you want to be front or back. Four.
I think Rye would go for those tiny windows at the back.
Sure.
So I'd sneak around the back of the establishment.
Awesome. So you go around the back of the shop, and back there is a back door as well, but it's not a back door. It's like into the shop. It's a bulkhead to go down into the cellar. Though there would probably be no benefit of that because there's no direct access to the first floor from there. So you make your way to the back of the shop and find your way over to one of the windows. So these windows are old, they're dusty, they're dirty. So when you make your way over there, you're trying to listen in, trying to do the best you can, and you kind of hear noise happening inside there, some voices, a couple of steps and whatnot, but you can't really hear much very well, and certainly not if you're trying to be inconspicuous with like standing nearby, So what do you do from here?
Could I pry the back door open a little bit?
So like I said, the back door would be going down to the basement. You want to try to make your way to the basement?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah. So you go over to the back door, and the back door itself is locked with a chain around it and a pad. However, that hasn't always stopped you in the past.
I do have a thieves kit. So I guess, can I jimmy the lock on the padlock?
You're welcome to try. You just have to roll me a roll. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. What am I rolling here?
That's going to be, so you're proficient and it's dexterity, which I think is what, a 2 for you?
Sleight of hand, is it?
That you actually just roll with your thieves tools themselves.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. And I think it's a 4. Oh, I don't have
15.
Nice. Awesome. 15 is actually exactly what you needed. So you fiddle with it for a few moments and then it pops open. So quickly getting it open and trying to do the chains relatively quietly. Oh, actually, before I just tell you you're doing that, are you trying to make this, like, again, business as usual, very inconspicuous? Very conspicuous, like I'm supposed to be here? Or are you trying to be stealthy, sneaky in case somebody's nearby?
Relatively stealthy, sneaky, yeah. Would you like me to roll stealth?
No, you're fine with this right now. So
okay.
You pop the lock, you get the thing out as quickly as you can, and you do open the door and kind of slide in there and slide down the stairs. Now, as soon as you get down the first 2-3 steps or so, you do hear them creaking. This point in time, I am going to have you roll a stealthy check to make your way down and across. As you're rolling that, you do more plainly hear the voices overhead, conversation happening again, creaking of floorboards, a little bit of dust falling as the people step around.
Stealth was a 21.
That's amazing. Awesome. So with your stealth check, you're able to get down the stairs nice and quietly, make your way over to pretty much directly beneath where they are, and listen into what they're saying. So the shop owner, who is of course another Shao man, is speaking to somebody that has their diction is incredible. Their accent, everything tells you that this isn't another guard. This isn't another lackey. This is probably one of the family members, if not Grigor, the leader of the house himself, that's asking the shop owner questions. So maybe one of the family members, maybe him. You don't know. You've never met them. So he's asking questions about, and you're certain you haven't seen her in a long while. And he's like, no, I've told you a ton of times. I've not seen this girl. This girl in the poster. I have not seen her. You've already admitted that you know her. You've already admitted you've done business with her. So if I find out that you are hiding her, there will be the full length of the law brought to you, and you are only Shao. So there will be no forgivances for any of the trespasses that you should do against my family. And you can just kind of, even though you can't see, you can almost feel like the spirit of this person being drained from down below.
Yeah, Rai kind of scowls a little bit at the Shao insult too.
And so with that, there are a couple of footsteps as clearly nice boots and whatnot, footsteps walking across the creaky floor. You see little bits of dust falling, and as he goes across, like it stops sudden. Silence for like a minute or so, and a few seconds or so, and then finally you hear the nice voice saying, "You know what? I like this. I'll take it for my troubles," and then walks out of the shop with whatever it was that he had snatched up.
Man, well, I'm not gonna show myself to the shopkeeper because that's gonna be stressful. So I guess I just dozy on back out the back, up the stairs, and then kind of like retrofit the lock back on the cellar door.
As you start doing that, as you start walking your way out of the basement and start walking your way up the stairs, you start to feel this, like, I don't know, this feeling is coming over you, this like dark feeling, this dark presence is coming over you. If you have almost like a warm feeling come from your chest, but it's not unfamiliar to you. And then you hear somewhere in the back of your mind almost little whispers saying something, kind of yearning, pulling you towards something down inside this basement.
Rice stops and clutches the moon-shaped pendant around her neck, which feels, it's like cold iron, but to her it feels almost burning. Yeah. And she knows by now that ignoring these whispers is more of a hindrance than just listening. So she stops going up the stairs and listens to the voices.
The whispers, you can't always make out what they are.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just very strong feelings. Sometimes it's whispers themselves. And right now you have the feeling like your business here is not quite finished.
Right. Okay. So Rai turns and just starts kind of maneuvering around the room, seeing if there's any kind of response to the nauseating feeling that she's feeling.
So with the time passes, she's kind of looking around the room, trying to search through herself and find out what's happening there. When you hear up above, there's a little bit of sobbing that happens from the shop owner. And the sobbing gets loud enough and to the point, and a little bit of time passes, that she almost starts to come out of whatever trance that she's in and listens a little bit more keenly to what it is that's happening upstairs. And that sobbing, very quickly, you can imagine, it's out of embarrassment and fear, turns into anger. And you hear stuff being thrown around and curses being shouted in Shao and so on and so forth. How dare this various cuss words come into my shop and make me feel worthless? How dare he do this? I'll have him. And just like cuss words and swearing vengeance against this wealthy merchant and whatnot. So you feel that, you hear that happening upstairs. And as he continues to stomp around and whatnot, and lots of clutter and banging, everything happens, there's something inside the basements that kind of falls open from all the commotion and everything that's down there. And you see a little shiny something kind of pulling you over there. It's not that it's something that's shining from lights down there. Obviously, there's very little to no light. It's something that's shining almost like with this warmth, like the yearning feeling, kind of pulling you to it. So,
Rye dives towards it, a quick few steps onto her knees, and examines the shining object.
it's a spyglass. Like you would imagine Sherlock Holmes or whatever would have, like a magnifying glass, but a spyglass that you find. And as soon as you get your hand on the spyglass, it's crafted out of some sort of ivory. I mean, who knows what it is, but some sort of ivory, nice glass to it. This thing has seen some days. It's got scratches on it. It's injured and whatnot. But as soon as you get your hands on that, all of a sudden you feel this elation come over you. You feel like this yearning has been satisfied. You actually feel happy with yourself. So
yeah, I guess outwardly it would appear like almost kleptomania, but she grabs it, and just the look of relief on her face tells 1,000 tales, and she stuffs it into her pack, and then makes her way back up the cellar steps and jimmies the door shut.
Exactly as you said before. Yep, and it locks everything and just continues her way back to the tavern. Now, I imagine this way she falls back into her mind, but many different thoughts happening right now than before. Anything in particular ring out, or are you just making your way straight to that tavern?
She's confused. Why the painting? Why the spyglass? It doesn't make much sense. And she has the intention of examining the spyglass at a later date when she is somewhere safe that she can just do that.
Awesome.
But for now, I think she almost wants to take her mind off of what just happened. And so the tavern for her will be a good opportunity to do that.
Nice. So you make your way all the way to that tavern, and you know the city better than most people. So at least this section of the city better than most people. You, again, grew up here as a bit of a street rat. So you know your cuts, your corners. You make your way to the tavern as quickly as you can. And when you walk in, you don't see your newly made companions down in the actual tavern area, sitting around a table or at the bar or anything like that. So, but however, the barkeep, of course, it gives you like just a friendly hello.
Yeah, I mosey on up to the barkeep and kind of like hint as to the business being dealt upstairs, or has nothing started yet?
He shakes his head. No, you're the first one here.
She kind of spins around and relaxes on the bar with her back to the barkeep, and her elbows kind of on the bar. She's kind of just like sigh of relief, and then looks over her shoulder and just orders her regular drink.
Awesome. And he gives it to you, and he kind of sees that you had a rough day and just pours the drink in silence and leaves you to your thoughts with that. And that's pretty much where we'll leave it off.
She gestures a cheers and then kind of like slams it back.